What's up? It's Tom. Thanks for clicking on this video. We're talking baseball. We've got actual transactions to talk about. 6 prospects were added to the 40-man roster to protect them from the Rule 5, being eligible from the Rule 5 draft. Gabriel Gonzalez, John Klein, we're going to talk about some more. Hendry Mendez, Andrew Morris, Prielipp and Kendry Rojas. Half of these guys acquired via trades. Gabriel Gonzalez was in the Jorge Polanco trade a couple off seasons ago. And then Hendry Mendez was in the Harrison Bader trade with Philadelphia, and Kendry Rojas was in the Louis Varland trade with Toronto. John Klein, an undrafted free agent that the Twins signed, went to college in a tiny Iowa community college, pitched his high school ball in Osseo in the Northwest Metro, grew up in Brooklyn Park. So that, I mean, if you want a feel-good story, like there's layers upon, you have the hometown boy, John Klein, you have the long shot, beating the odds, John Klein. This is a tremendous story, and I want to talk about him some more. Yeah, Andrew Morris and Prielipp, the other two guys who weren't acquired via trades, both of them homegrown arms drafted. Andrew Morris out of Texas Tech and Prielipp out of Alabama. I considered the 5 guys a lock, but Klein was not a guy I was really expecting to be added. It seems like almost every year there's a pitcher that gets added that I wasn't really expecting, but I did pick John Klein for my selection and my voting for the Twins Daily Minor League Pitcher of the Year award. So, you know, I did respect what John Klein did. I don't think I fully understood how big of a step forward he took from 2024 to 2025. I knew the numbers were there, but he's put on a lot of good weight. He's gotten a lot bigger, a lot stronger. Again, just a great story on so many fronts, John Klein. It's almost like, in a way, like the crazy element of Peyton Eels, you know, coming out of nowhere, and everybody loved that story and felt so good about that more so 2 seasons ago. It's almost like that mixed with the Louis Varland, like unheralded hometown boy, mixed together. So yeah, I'm really excited. We're going to take a look at John Klein and talk some more about him. But these guys were not protected. The top 3 guys, in my opinion, who were not protected from the Rule 5 draft. I'm not shocked at any of these, but I could see potentially any one of these 3 guys taken in the Rule 5 draft. CJ Culpepper, Kalai Rosario, coming off of a tremendous season, and then Kyler Fedko had a huge breakout year and made it all the way up to St. Paul. I don't know that it's particularly likely any of those guys get taken in the Rule 5 draft. Again, Culpepper probably the most likely because pitchers, you know, hopefully Culpepper sticks around. He has missed quite a bit of time, and I wonder if that's going to hurt him, but he has a deep and intriguing arsenal. You know, but yeah, I'm wondering if teams just will shy away from taking him, not thinking he can provide them innings. Back to John Klein. Here are his minor league numbers since joining the system. You know, nothing eye-popping, especially, you know, you look at the overall numbers of 4.2 in ERA, a 1.31 whip, 9.5 K per 9, solid but not spectacular. But again, he really broke out this past season in 2025, made it all the way to AAA. Didn't exactly shine in AAA, but was missing quite a bit of bats there. And here is a look at his pitch mix. It's a starter's repertoire. You on that last page, you might have noticed that he pitched out of the bullpen quite a bit, but they were longer outings. 28% four-seamers, 24% cutters, 18% curveballs, 18% sinkers, and 14% changeups. So this guy can attack you in a lot of different ways. Fastball sitting in the 94 range. You see him consistently hitting 95, touching 96. You may see a 97 here or there as well. Let's take a look at some highlights of him from his time with the Saints. And again, just want to call out that how much better physically he looks. I think that was really something I missed on with John Klein. Because I'll be honest, I have not ranked him. Again, I want to make sure to say I've put some respect on this guy's name. He was my pick for Twins Daily Minor League Pitcher of the Year. But I've not put a ton of respect on John Klein's name as a prospect. And, you know, I probably would have left him unprotected, but this is a guy who, you know, logged over 100 innings last year, so he does kind of check that box. He could be like a mop-up man if you were to unprotect him. If you left him eligible for the Rule 5 draft, some teams might say, hey, this guy's been AAA, this guy threw innings, you know, he's got some velo, he's breaking out, let's just take him and see what happens. So guessing that's what pushed the Twins' hand there. Congrats to John Klein, but I want to talk about the other interesting thing that happened. The Twins acquired a MLB bullpen arm from Tampa Bay. Eric Orze added. The Twins traded Jacob Kisting, who I actually, speaking of Twins Daily Awards, I put him number 4, I think, on my ballot for Twins Daily Minor League Reliever of the Year, Jacob Kisting. He was kind of in the mix in consideration for being added to my Twins top 50 prospects. So not like a big prospector. He was taken in the 14th round in 2024. So if you can take a guy you drafted in the 14th round after one full season in the minors and flip him for a major league reliever, that's a really good outcome. But I do want to say, it's not like the Twins gave up absolutely nothing for this guy. Jacob Kisting is intriguing. So but switching gears to Eric Orze, the guy they added, obviously the Twins need so much bullpen help. So this guy, almost anybody fits the bill of could they help the Twins. But as you see there, this past season, 41 2/3 innings, a 3.02 ERA. Now, not all the numbers support that strong ERA. A 4.05 FIP probably is a little bit more appropriate to sort of consider him at. But when we take a look at some highlights in his pitch mix and some of the other things, I think he's intriguing. And I think he's definitely a positive acquisition, a guy who's going to help this bullpen out. He has an option, so it's not like he has to be in the big league bullpen. That's a plus. You can send him to AAA still. But this is a guy who has been in AAA in parts of each of the last 5 seasons. But you see his AAA numbers, a bigger sample there. We're going to take a look at a couple of his splitters, which is really his difference-making pitch. And then how he uses his slider is interesting. His slider got beat up. That's definitely not like a headlining pitch. This splitter, though, this is a nice pitch. But the slider, he throws up in the zone. You see him getting one past Alonso there. It's kind of interesting, given his shape of his slider, too, that's what they're trying to figure out. So, and I think and there you see those working in tandem against Rafael Devers there. I think that's really noteworthy because, the splitter is the hottest pitch in baseball right now. And then I would say another big trend is you do see some guys throwing their breaking balls up in the zone now, which you never would have seen not that long ago. I guarantee you the Twins targeted this guy because he has outstanding extension. He's 6'4" and he has good extension. That's something they've really gravitated toward. And then here's his pitch movement profile. You see that splitter. It gets both a little bit better arm side action and a little bit better drop than the MLB average, which you see in that circle kind of grayed out, I guess, or with the horizontal lines. His slider, though, doesn't drop as much as the average MLB slider, which is maybe why Tampa Bay tried to get him to throw that up in the zone. I don't know if if that's just a coincidence or not. And then his four-seam fastball, it does have a movement profile where there is more rise and it has a little bit more arm side action, but I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like a very effective pitch for him. He does throw it 25%. It's his least used pitch. The splitter he throws that 48% of the time. It would not surprise me if the Twins have him throw that even more. But you see his velo on that is lower than average for a MLB right-hander. And then the four-seam fastball is a little bit lower as well. Slider a little bit harder than average. And again, here is the zone profile of Eric Orze's slider. You see that red dot at the top of the zone. He does really work that pitch up in the zone. Kind of an interesting. So that's what I would say about Eric Orze mainly is he's an interesting addition to a unit that really needs help. Obviously, the Twins have a lot more work to do in terms of the bullpen. But I think this is, they used a former 14th round pick to acquire a guy who's going to be in their MLB bullpen picture. I think that's a plus for them, and I think he's definitely more intriguing than your average waiver wire claim that they're probably going to look for those guys as well. But I think he's a step up from that. And being a younger guy, maybe there's less disaster potential than going with some of these 35-plus-year-old relievers that are out there in the market. So, again, I expect the Twins to do a lot more work in the bullpen, but this was a nice first step. The Twins now have a full 40-man roster as of now, but they still have some guys they can clear. I don't think you need Carson McCusker is probably in trouble this offseason. Deshaun Kersey Jr. is probably in trouble. Mickey Gasper. There's a number of guys that they could easily clear space with. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that and see how things go. But just wanted to talk about that. Let me know any questions you have. Thanks for checking this one out. We'll talk again soon.